All right. Hey, y'all. Hey, so my name is Celeste. I'm a therapist from Boston. If you've never been here before, I want to say thank y'all so much for being here. I truly appreciate y'all. I've been podcasting since 2018, and what I do is I talk about things that are affecting us, and I help you think about ways that you can deal with it. This is called the Shift Community. So I have a wellness center located in Stoughton, Massachusetts, called Shifting the Way You Think Wellness Center. The goal behind this podcast and literally everything that I do is to help you look at the small things you can do to create change. A lot of times we want like really big changes to happen overnight, and that's just not the reality. The way you've created your system is going to take time to like unravel that. And so, through this podcast, through my posts on social media, through my wellness center, my goal is for people to literally learn how to create those shifts in those moments. Today, we're talking about something important. You know why I know it's important? Because I'm a whole therapist and I've been talking to people for so many years. We are so hard on ourselves. We are more hard on ourselves than we are to people in our lives. The amount of grace that we give everyone else is wild compared to how much we give ourselves. So if your friend were to call you and tell you they made a mistake, you want to be like, oh, for real, right? If they're spiraling or beating themselves up, you're gonna be like, no, 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 what you doing, baby? You gotta like chill. You'll be like, it's okay. You know, you're human. You gotta give yourself grace. Happens so automatically. You don't even think twice about it. Now, let's say you flip it and you make the same exact mistake they made. You start going in on yourself. I'm talking about like what's wrong with you, why should you do that, blah, blah, blah. Raise your hand if that's you, right? And again, everything that I talk about are things that we all go through, a lot of people go through. And I get firsthand share of it because of what I do for a living. And so I'm like, I got to tell the people, you're not alone. Some people think that they're the only ones in your head. No, baby, you're not the only one in your head. Like, unfortunately, it happens to us all. I'm going to break down why it happens and how you can work on it. We end up having different standards for everyone else, even if it's the same situation, but not with ourselves. So let's talk about where this double standard comes from, right? Because I think it's important to know and understand the science or psychology behind things, because when we understand it, I feel like we can give ourselves a little bit of grace. There's this book by Oprah and Dr. Bruce Perry called What Happened to You. I love that book for so many different reasons, but just the title alone, What Happened to You, that is the question I am working on with people. Not like what's wrong with you, what's your diagnoses, right? What happened to you? How did you get to this point that you're at right now? And a lot of times it had to do with the fact that we had to survive. And if we can start to have grace with ourselves, the way that we do life and operate in life will really start to look different. So a lot of times, many of us was held to higher impossible standards growing up, right? Especially people in the Black community. If you're Caribbean, if your parents were immigrants, and they're looking at it, it's like, I want my kid to be okay. I want my kid to be able to survive, right? So some of those standards was high, and it, you know, those standards allowed you to be the productive member of society that you are. But then when it comes to peace and joy and the way you walk around with a bully 24/7, I say, if you're not motivating and encouraging yourself, if you're beating yourself up because you're with yourself 24/7, you're literally walking around with the bully, right? So when mistakes were made growing up, it was met with a lot of criticism. It wasn't given grace. There was a lot of shame and punishment around the way that you did things when you messed up. And we're human, we're gonna mess up, right? Things are gonna go wrong. One of the things I say to my kids, I'll say, like, you know, if you do something wrong, like, I'm gonna be disappointed, but I'm gonna still love you, right? And we're gonna still talk about what happened. And a lot of times in households that didn't happen. You learned early on that messing up was going to be so dangerous. So what did you do? Again, our system is so powerful. It learned how to develop an inner critic to catch yourself before anyone else can catch you. But that inner critic felt more like a protection, right? At the time, it felt like it was protecting you. Now, at your big age, it's become a prison, right? A lot of times when I talk about change and shifting, the reason why some of that hindrance happens with the shift and the change is because of the way you're talking about it. I say this all the time. A lot of times we're standing in the way of change. The way that we're talking about ourselves, the way that we're beating ourselves up, it's freaking exhausting. It's exhausting. You've internalized someone else's harsh voice and you made it your own. And that's why I tell people you got to start giving this voice a name. Like, give it a name. Hey, Sue. Like, not today, Sue. We're not doing that today. Right? Separate that voice from your voice because that is not you. You wasn't born to beat yourself up the way you did. Things happened in life. Even if you cannot remember the specifics around the things that happened, understand like something happened that changed and created the way that you're operating right now. So now I want to talk about like what self-criticism actually does because we don't realize it happens so automatically. We don't even realize it's happening in real time, right? It does not make you feel better. In fact, it makes you feel a lot smaller when you do that. When your criticism activates the same stress response as an external threat, so like the way that you beat yourself up, right? Your body starts to look at it as the same way as something like you're about to get hit by a car, right? The nervous system cannot tell the difference between the two. Your body doesn't know the difference between if somebody's attacking you for real or if you're attacking yourself. So then you end up staying stuck in that shame rather than moving forward for growth. And also, like when your nervous system is always on edge and anxious, what do you think is happening to your blood pressure? What do you think is happening with the diabetes? Where do you think the migraines are coming from? Where do you think the back aches are coming from? Where do you think the stomach stuff is coming from? The way that you beat yourself up and shame yourself, it creates a lot of medical tension within you. Shame will tell you, like, I am bad, right? Guilt will say, I did something bad. Shame paralyzes you, right? Guilt can eat you up. And self-criticism will keep you in the shame. When you find yourself always attacking yourself, you're staying in a shameful state of mind. And how can you heal when you are shaming yourself? I think about when I work with people and they talk about themselves in a negative way, and there's somebody in their life that they love, whether it's a kid, a sister, a friend. I'll name that person and I'll say, oh, okay. So if such and such came to you with the same exact scenario, is this, you would tell them like, oh, you screwed up or F that, or, oh, you already messed up, just throw the whole thing away. People get emotional. They can't, they say no. Like they look at me crazy, like, no, I would never do that. So why not give yourself the same grace? Right? And we don't do that enough. We don't give ourselves the same grace. We will have endless compassion for other people. And I love that. I love that you have compassion for other people. I think that's a beautiful thing to have, but where is it for yourself? You end up giving yourself different rules. Ask yourself, would I say this to someone I love? Would I say this to my child? And if the answer is no, you really have no business saying that to yourself. The compassion you give so freely to others, I really want you to understand that you deserve that for yourself as well. Like you deserve to have that compassion that you're giving out to other people. So not only do I talk about the struggles that we have, but I bring in like, how do we work on shifting? How do we change the narrative? Because if you're still breathing, there's room for change. I talk a lot about how our nervous system loves things that are familiar. It kind of thrives off of that, but that doesn't mean it can't change. As we're trying to change, it feels scary. It feels scary because it's unfamiliar, but feeling scary with the changes that we have doesn't mean it's wrong. When I was trying to, when after I had my daughter who's 13 now, and I wanted to lose weight, I used to eat out a lot at fast food restaurants, and I was going to the gym and change wasn't happening. I remember I said the trainer, like, I was like, yeah, I'm going to Burger King's, like, and And it's not about Burger King's because I love burgers, but it's about the capacity and the as much as I was eating it. I just want to say that. And I'm like, oh snap, I need to start eating healthy. So I started to get like all of these greens. I tell the story a lot on the podcast, and them greens, like it tasted bad, and they went to waste. Um, Over time, I've changed my palate drastically, right? Over the last like 13 years, my palate, like I can't eat at Burger King's anymore. Like I can't eat at McDonald's. Like I personally like don't like the aftertaste that comes with it. And when it comes to the greens and the smoothies that I would make, like I can't imagine not having them. But at the beginning, I had to train my system. It tasted bad. Why did it taste bad? Because it was unfamiliar. If you needed a heart transplant, your heart is working at 10%. You're on the thing. They say, "Oh, we got a new heart for you." This heart that they give you is working at like 100%. Now, the transplant happens, the new heart is in you, is pumping, is working like 100%. But why is it that sometimes the body will reject that? They give you medication, they tell you what you can and cannot do because they need for your heart to that new heart to get acclimated to your system. It happens because regardless of how good it is, it's a foreign object to your life, to your body. You're adding something foreign to your body. And so your body will be like, hold on for a second, wait a minute, what is this? I don't care that it's good. At the end of the day, it's something I don't understand and I don't know. And over time, the body and the system can get acclimated to it. So as I'm talking about the shift, I want you to understand the things that I'm asking you to do is going to feel hard, it's going to feel weird, it's going to feel unfamiliar, but that doesn't mean that it's wrong. Your system just needs time to acclimate it to it. So first I want you to notice the voice. Whose voice is this? Is this Celeste talking or is this Sue? Sue, we're not doing that today. You literally got to like say it. You got to rebuke it. You got to say it loud and proud. Like this is not happening today. I'm not going to let you win today. Notice that voice and then name when it happens. There's that inner critic again, right? Like, oh, there it goes again. This is not what's happening now. And so if you replace that attack with what you tell a friend, right? So when I say like you wouldn't talk to your child or a friend like this, I want you to replace, if so and so was in this space, would I say the same thing to them as I'm saying to myself? I promise you, you wouldn't. I promise you, you wouldn't. I could bet everything on that. I want you to practice being a witness to yourself rather than a judge, right? Do you want to walk around with a bully 24/7 or do you want to walk around with somebody that's motivating? Having self-compassion is a skill. It has to be practiced. It is not going to happen overnight. Just because you're listening to this podcast doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're going to change. Is so hard to create. You can know it up here, but here it's just all automatic. And that's where the intention and the stillness comes into play, right? You will not be kind to yourself perfectly. It's not going to happen perfect all the time, and that is okay. But the moments that you're not, it's so important that you notice it. It's so important that you reframe it, right? Shifting the way you think takes time. So, as we're closing, I want you to know the way that you talk to yourself, it matters. It matters more than anything because you're with yourself all the time. Not because positivity fixes everything. I'm not saying like pretend that everything's fine. But it's because how do you heal in an environment that's constantly attacking itself? It's impossible, right? You're not the exception to grace. The same grace that you give other people, you deserve to have that grace too. You're not the one person who doesn't deserve compassion. I don't care what happened in your past, what's happened in your history. Like you deserve that. You have to know that you deserve that. And when you give yourself that, you teach people how to treat you. Your relationships with other people start to look different. Yes, it will be hard. Yes, it will feel lonely because sometimes as you begin to have more compassion and treat yourself better, you start to see how people are treating you. Your system isn't going to allow you to keep allowing people to treat you crazy when you stop treating yourself crazy. If you're talking to yourself crazy, if you're treating yourself crazy, guess what? You're going to let everybody else treat you that way. That's just the reality. I want you to think about, how do I talk to myself the way I'm talking to somebody else? Right? That is self-love. Self-love requires a lot of discipline. It requires a lot of care. It requires a lot of intentionality. And so if you want to work on loving yourself, if you want to work on being kind to yourself, if you want to change that voice, pay attention to the way that you speak to yourself, because it matters. I hope this was helpful, Shift community. I hope this makes sense. If anything I ever say resonates for you, I want you to understand that you have the power to create change. But first, you have to have faith and really start to believe in yourself. And when you believe in yourself, it's really hard for people to take that away from you. Like, it's really hard. I'm a living witness. Like, I believe in myself, and it doesn't matter what people say. I know where I'm going, I know my purpose. Don't forget, we're streaming the podcast on all podcasting platforms. If you're watching me on YouTube, there's an audio version where twice a week I do a daily shift. It's a 5-minute episode where I talk about something that is people may struggle with, and how to make that shift, right? I also have a wellness center located in Stoughton, Massachusetts, where we have somatic classes. We have therapists here. We have intensive outpatient programs. Like, we're doing it all. Like, I'm a therapist, and I think talking is powerful, but I also know the body be holding on to stuff too, right? Follow me everywhere on all social media platforms. You can follow the podcast, Celeste the Therapist. You can follow the Wellness Center, STWYT. That stands for Shifting the Way You Think. You can find the website for the Wellness Center, stwyt.com/classes, if you want to take a class. And then you can find the website for the podcast, celestetherapist.com. Thank you so much for rocking out with me. And until next time, beautiful people, I will talk to you later.